Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's November 11th, 2022. I thought I'd give you an update on Pond 7. Pond 7 we had put in 10 or 12 years ago. It was a somewhat spherical pond. I'll show you the original footprint right over here. Now we've been in a drought this year. Last few years we've been having droughts. But the shape of the pond, now this I dug out just 2 years ago this year, but it was a circle right there. And then I used Bumblebee, the mini excavator. It was a Komatsu PC27 MR2. And during a drought 2 years ago, and I used Hound, a Komatsu CK35-1 track loader to go ahead and start digging out and making a ramp up this way. That's as much as I could get done at that time, and so I was real happy to be able to get that much of an expansion. Now we never had any problems with the original Pond 7 starting to go dry, even though we've had some pretty significant droughts. Would it go down a couple of feet in the level of the water in the ponds at the end of the season? Yes. And after doing the expansion a couple of years ago, we didn't have any troubles either, so it was a risk at that time. And then this year, this fall, since we had another significant drought, I decided to dig this out here. So these 3 rocks were here at the beginning of this season. These 4 here I just dug out in the last couple of weeks around here. And we've expanded the pond area quite a bit, and hopefully we'll be in good shape. So you may be able to see a little bit of where things were left off. See sort of an elevation going right up to that white birch, the first white birch. So that's where the level went to, and so I dug this out. This year. Started digging out down here. We already posted a video about it, digging out the base. Got muddy material, set it right up on here. But then as I went along, I moved and got a lot of that material around. We create margins around the ponds. Now I'll probably modify the margins later on after the pond fills up and we see just how things actually work out. There is a vein of sand over there that I tried sealing somewhat. The herons have been coming down in here. The water level hasn't dropped other than me expanding the area and therefore making the water level drop as a result of expanding the surface area of the pond. This margin level over here. So margins are the dynamic interaction between 2 different zones. So at the edge of the forest, if a pasture goes up next to a forest area, to a woodlot, there's a dynamic interaction between the flora and fauna that lives within the forest and the flora and fauna that lives within the pasture area or the prairie area. And it's like an overlapping of both, the flora, the plant life that lives in each area, and the animal life that live there, the flora and fauna. So by having the margins around the ponds, we can enhance more biological activity and more habitats and create ecosystems. So this is all roughed out at this point. We'll see where the water level comes to. I haven't used the transit down here. I did everything in between doing other projects around here. And we'll see how things work out. I may end up digging the margins down deeper or even making 2-tier margins. In other words, an area that's down another 1.5 feet from where it is here and having like lily pads planted there, and then more of the rushes and other plants that would go up in the shallower areas. So but this is as much as I can get done this season. We're supposedly going to get the remnants of the hurricane that hit the East Coast in the last couple of days. So I haven't moved the last of the dirt here, but I'll show you where we've been putting the materials. So we're going to hop on Pepe here, and take a quick ride down to the location where I've been building some more roads. So I still have to make a roadway up over here, and that's an area that we've driven through many times, that I've done a lot of work on the roadways over there. The ponds are over in that direction. You may be able to see some of the white tree tubes through the forested area here in the distance. But by putting in these roadways, and I saved some of the extra dirt up there because some of these roadways, I don't have a crown on these roads yet. And these will be important roads for me to be able to bring out material as I dig out the pond along the canal system, where we recently planted the swamp oaks over in the distance there. So I did have to take down a few trees. Most of them had issues, ash trees and all, a couple of apples down in here. But we'll be excavating maybe next year in here. We'll find out which trees are in good shape, and we'll leave those as islands, and we'll excavate out a really nice area over in there where it's extremely marshy, and we'll use all of that soil and haul that up these roadways. So we just came down over this one roadway here, and each one of these roads actually provide a few different functions for us. One, we're able to do chunking. So the distance, the area between this road, the road that I'm standing on right now, and this road here creates a chunking, what I'm calling chunking. And what do I mean? Well, this, we can divide up pieces of the property so that I can try and not get overwhelmed and tackle that area by reforesting those areas and creating little ecological habitats, creating a whole ecosystem in each one of these areas that will be connected. Each one of these roadways will not remain large roadways in the future. Each one of these roadways will end up turning into paths, just trails that we can work down in the future as well, because we'll have marginal plants. And here we had all of the multiflora rose bushes in this area. There's just so many of them that are in the area. But by looking at the relative soil type, the plants that typically want to be in these areas, what tree growth, how overgrown the area is, what stage of development they're in, we can decide what trees and what other supportive species, hardwood brush, and the ground cover, whether we want any vining species in here as well. We're not going to take out all the dead trees. I'll walk over here a little bit. And so we'll be looking next spring closely at how the trees that are still here are doing. I believe that maple in front of us is still alive, but I won't know until next spring. But we'll be taking out a few of these dead trees that are going to be dangerous and create part of the pond system here. And the pond will be like a hand with fingers in it. So lots of marginal zones, and we'll take the rich mucky material and create really good soil areas around here as well for the various species. But we've got to pull out many of these wild grapevine around here. We've got lots and lots of dead trees in here. And I'm certainly not opposed to having the dead trees in here. I just want to be able to get in here safely and be able to do the earthworks that we want to do. And we'll be paying close attention to the elevations in the area. So what the soil's like, what the elevation of the topography of the land down in here, so that we're planting the appropriate species that are going to thrive down in this area. So the first stage is getting some roadways cut in and chunking the area so we can divide up an area and say, okay, let's go down in this month and clear out everything that's an invasive species, dead, diseased, dying, that sort of thing, or that's in risk of falling over and doing damage. Get rid of those and see how much shade there is in the area, what the soil is like. Are these plants going to be having wet feet? What the pH is like, those sorts of things, and so that we can recreate what would naturally inhabit a location like this. And then we'll have the marginal plants around the margins of all of these chunks or quadrants in the area. But having more and more trails going through the property can help us to get from point A to point B and do the work that we want to do to reforest and make this place what I've been dreaming about for many years. So that's it for today's video. Just wanted to give you a heads up of where we're at with Pond 7, the earthworks that we're doing there. We'll see how much rain we do get. I think Thea said that the weatherman said we could get 3 to 4 inches of rain over the next couple of days, which would be fantastic. That when we exceed the ground saturation and it starts running into our canals, swale systems, and all, these ponds will start getting filled up, which I really like to see happen. So that's it for today's video. If you found this video of value, please give us a thumbs up. If you have any thoughts or perspectives, please feel free to share them down below. And by all means, folks, stay safe and take good care of yourselves. Bye-bye now.